So it should go live in about a minute or so, Prabhu.
Okay. I did get the Facebook pop-up.
Okay.
All right. So as soon as you're ready, please start, because punctuality is important. Devotees have given up their time, so we want to respect that.
Okay. Prabhu, you may start now.
Okay, you should do the intro.
Oh, Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Is the sound clear? Can you all see us clearly?
Yes, Prabhu, it's loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Prabhu, everything is fine.
Thank you. Yeah. I think Prabhu, everything is fine. You may start. It's 2 minutes past 4 now.
Yes, you should start with the
Welcome.
yes, and then I can start the class.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hare Krishna, everybody. We welcome His Grace Rathim Krishna Prabhu. Rathim Krishna Prabhu has kindly accepted our invitation to present today's class. We hope that he will do more regular classes. His Grace Rathim Krishna Das is born in South Africa. He's a graduate from University of Natal. He completed his studies and joined ISKCON Temple in Cape Town at the age of 21. In 2002, he moved to India to join the monastery in Mayapur. He moved to Vrindavan in 2005 and served there up to 2016. From 2016, he has been traveling full-time, sharing the wisdom of Vedic teaching. He's always had an interest in science and spirituality.
In the lobby.
And he's also serving as co-temple president of ISKCON.
Okay,
Somebody YouTube channel called Rathim Krishna Das.
Somebody's mic
teacher at Vrindavan Institute for Higher Education. So we welcome the Prabhu. If you can kindly please put your microphone on silent, because we can hear your background voices. Thank you so much, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Paramatma Prabhu.
And a special welcome to Dr. Usha Rupnarayan. She's a former parliamentarian in South Africa. So she kindly joined us as well.
Welcome to you, Doctor.
Yeah, so online, Prabhu, we've got Charina, is welcome. There's Chan, welcome. There's Lorraine, welcome. There's Radha Kata Dasi, welcome. Sarisha, welcome. There's Anjaneya Das, welcome. And then Dr. Usha Rupnarayan, welcome. And so, Prabhu, they are in the waiting room. I'm going to say admit all. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Om Jnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances at his lotus feet. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, like we traditionally do as pujaris, swagatam suswagatam. In the Vedic culture, when you receive an honorary guest, then it's called swagatam suswagatam. And as pujaris, this is the hand mudra to welcome somebody. So we'd like to welcome you all and thank you for your giving your time for joining us in Sangha. Right. So we'd like to also honor and respect those celebrations that are happening at the moment. We'll even mention some of that as well. But this topic that we're discussing today, I think it's something that's lingering in all our hearts as we're trying to find closure during this pandemic, and especially when we were not able to do final rites, and we're not able to honor and respect our loved ones departing, or people that have been close to us, friends and families that have left. So one of the aspects that we'll discuss is this point, trying to understand death in its wisdom that it has on the living entity, the conditioned soul. And in order to understand that, we also need to understand the reaction that we are getting. Many times when we look at Bhagavad Gita, we don't see it as a manual for life. We see it as devotees of Krishna, we see it as a religious text. But in and itself, it's addressing this one point, the reaction to Arjuna understanding life as it's unfolding to him. So we don't have a choice when life unfolds to us. That is not within our control, but we have choice in how we respond to it. And that is very powerful. And how you respond will depend on how much you understand about life, how much you've thought about life, how much you've applied the process of living to life. Most of us are just caught up in the process of survival, working just to survive, to have some maintenance, to have some kind of livelihood. And life as survival takes up most of our energy, saps up most of what we want to try to experience. And that then becomes the experience of life, the action or the reaction of what we're getting in terms of livelihood. And when we get a moment or two, especially when there's death, then it's very sobering. We'll see this verse that Krishna explains just now. Prabhu, can you put on the slides? So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna drops a very sobering verse that when we read at first glance, it gives the notion, it may take a second or two to come through, but it should come through. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So this verse in Bhagavad Gita, it's a famous verse, chapter 2, verse number 13. Dehinosmin yata dehe komaram yovanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuyate. So the translation of this, Paramatma Prabhu, you would like to read the translation? Paramatma Prabhu? Okay, maybe he's not getting me there. I hope he's still there. So the translation of this, it says, as the embodied soul passes from childhood to youth to old age, then similarly, the soul passes into another body at death, and the sober person is not bewildered by such a change. It's the key word. When we hear this verse, I'm sure it's familiar to many of us, but we focus on the changing of the body. And that's because we are bodily conscious. So that's the most striking thing to us. But somebody who's on the path of self-realization, that won't be the most striking part to the person. The last line, a sober person is not bewildered. He's not bewildered. This is the point. What is creating bewilderment for us? What does create bewilderment in life? So if we see the body and the activities that come to the body, the reactions and actions of the process of life upon us, then we're going to only read the first line, the boyhood to youth to old age. That's going to be the most striking part. But Krishna explains that dhiras tatra namuyate, one who is dhira, one who is sober, dhira, that person looks at the last line. Why am I bewildered? Why am I in a state of bewilderment? If this is a process of life, why is it so difficult for me to accept? And what is it that I need to know about myself to accept this process of life? We see in the, there's this beautiful narrative that comes in the Mahabharata of Arjuna. And Arjuna was first received the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, but 13 days after the war was proceeding, the war took 18 days. On the 13th day, something very, very powerful happened to him. His son was killed. Abhimanyu was killed on the battlefield due to the Kuru leaders, the commanders. They created the Chakra Vyuha. This chakra, if you go to Kurukshetra, then at the museum there, you can actually see this replica of what it would look like. So one part, okay, Prabhu, we can remove the slide now. Yes, Paramatma Prabhu, are you there? Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, sorry, my microphone was turned off. Sorry about that, I'm back on now.
No problem, no problem. We'll still continue, but please can you ask the devotees to switch off their mic?
Yes, Hare Krishna, everyone, please switch off your microphone and welcome everyone. Sorry, we didn't welcome the latecomers. Welcome to our program today. Hare Krishna. Please switch your microphones off.
So there's somebody who has children and the mic, I think the mic is picking up the children's. Yeah, we'll just wait till that mic is switched off because it is quite loud on this side.
Okay, I can also switch off a few microphones on this side, Prabhu.
Maybe switch off or do that then, Prabhu, if you can.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
All
okay.
right. So Abhimanyu was caught up in this chakra and it spins first clockwise, and then there's a second layer that spins anti-clockwise. Then there's a third layer that spins clockwise. So it's constantly moving like this to and fro. So it's impossible to penetrate. Only two people knew how, Arjuna and Abhimanyu. And Abhimanyu only knew how to go in. He didn't know how to come out. And on that day, he went in as a sacrifice because his father is Arjuna, the commander of the Kuru, of the Pandava army. So he never thought about himself. He thought about the victory for the Pandavas. So indirectly, he sacrificed himself for his father. Was quite and Arjuna felt that. Arjuna felt that connection that my son has given his life up here, because at that moment, if Abhimanyu was not killed, they would have killed Arjuna because of the vow that he took. So you can see Abhimanyu took the higher cause in that. And Arjuna was very distraught at this. So on the first day, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. On the 13th day, Arjuna had his test to see whether he understood with realization the process of life. So just 13 days later, this is how life comes at us without any warning, without any protections, without anything. It just happens. And Arjuna was not expecting that what he heard on the first day, he would have to apply now on the 13th day already, because Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita on the first day. But now it's the 13th day, and there's the first test of life. When you lose someone you really love, without any warning, without any understanding, without any kind of rationale that this person was so good, why did this person have to pass on? Prabhupada was asked once by a reporter that, Swamiji, what do you think about the death rate in some Middle East country. And Prabhupada responded, the death rate is same everywhere, 100%. Why to speak of Middle East country? Death rate is same everywhere, 100%. Is there anybody who is immortal? No, everybody has to. If you jatasya dhruvar mrityur, dhruvar janma matasya cha, tasya pariharata rite na tvam sochita aharas. Krishna is telling Arjuna, for one who is born, death is certain. And for one who dies, again, birth is certain. Somebody who knows this, he does not lament. Na tvam sochita, lamentation. He does not lament. Aharasi. So at this time, Krishna approached Arjuna, but he didn't say anything. And this is the first level of healing. That first understand the grief that the loved one is experiencing. Krishna could have said right there, right? He could have said, hey, I just spoke Bhagavad Gita to you and you told me you understand, and now 13 days later you're crying here for somebody who's passed on. He didn't do that. He understood the heart of Arjuna and he gave him that time, although it was a brief moment of time, but he gave him the time to imbibe this, to accept this loss in the way, in this kind of way. So Krishna is teaching the most difficult aspects of life. Where? On the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Not at home, not when everything is peaceful. Battlefield means any moment the arrow can come by, any moment death is there. This is where Krishna chose to teach the biggest lessons of life. Can we see that? This is why Bhagavad Gita is such a treasured manual of life here in India and the whole world, that if somebody really takes time to understand this text and understand what it's giving about the higher levels of consciousness and life, in order to apply the best opportunities to live a complete, holistic life as a human being. Human beings are very distinct, because as much as we are one of the species on this planet, we don't evolve. Have you noticed that? We have not evolved. Every other species on this planet has evolved, but human beings evolve in consciousness. We don't evolve in bodies. Every other species will evolve from bodies, but human beings evolve through consciousness. That means there are higher and higher levels of understanding that a human being is supposed to be able to connect with. This is what is expected. So at that time, Krishna gave Arjuna his moment with Abhimanyu, and then he touched him on the shoulder and he said, Arjun, and Arjuna turned his head and he says, you know, the Kuru army on the southern side is mowing down the Pandava army like grass, is cutting them down like grass. Are you going to sit here or are you going to come with? So he gave him his moment of grief and then he reminded him of his duty. So when we trying to understand reactions that we get, we're not always going to have the global picture. We always want to have the complete understanding, but complete understanding doesn't just come from material, from Googling things. There's also a level of wisdom that comes. Jnanam vijnanam astikyam brahma karma svabhavaja. So there's a level of wisdom that also comes from the heart. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito, we say in Guru Puja, right? Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. In transcendental knowledge, Divya Gyan is revealed through the heart. It's not a process of assimilation by senses, and it's not a process of intellection by the mind. It's a deeper level of knowledge. And just to give you an example, even mothers know this. Mothers who have newborn children, they will trust their intuitive level of knowledge more than what they're seeing or what their senses are telling them about the child. So there is a deeper level of knowledge or contemplation or realization that lies within the human being. And if we tap that, what it allows us to do is to understand our situation. One of the most powerful things that happens to us is the illusion that we under. So that verse that we quoted, 2.13, the last part, a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Bewilderment means, why am I becoming bewildered? Because I'm identifying with something. What is my identification? My identification is the body. And because I'm identifying with the body, bewilderment is happening. I'm not able to see that the soul is transmigrating from boyhood to youth to old age. Yeah, I'm not able to see that. Why? Because my illusion is identified with the body. So many times I try to share with devotees, use the word illusion instead of Maya. Maya, because it's Sanskrit, our vernacular is not Sanskrit, it's English. We have a deeper understanding of the word illusion than the word Maya. And what we need is understanding, to understand why these reactions are coming my way. Secondly, we need to also be aware that all of this is within the purview of time. Time is the supreme factor. In the preface to Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada describes the 5 themes that make up the Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, Karma, and Prakriti. Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, Jiva, the living entity, Prakriti, living entity, Kala, time, and Karma, action. So time is the thing. Without time, there'll be no action. It will be pause. Okay, somebody's mic is on. Welcome to all the latecomers. You're welcome, but please switch off your mic. Thank you. So time is the thing that makes everything move. That's why Krishna says, Kalosmi lokadris pravisyate. I am time, the aspect of destroyer, but also the aspect of creation and maintenance. All of that is under Krishna's control. Bhokta jagatapasyanam sarvaloka maheshwaram surita sarvabhutanam gyatva shantir michati. That if you know who is Bhokta, the supreme enjoyer, and how Krishna is Sarva Loka Maheshwar. I'm controlling all these lokas, all these planets, and yet I'm Surita Sarva Bhutanam. I'm also in your heart as your well-wishing friend. Only that person can be Shanti Michati. If you don't have Shanti in your life, you're not aware of Krishna as Bhokta. You need to understand who is Bhokta, who is the supreme enjoyer. If we can understand how Krishna is the supreme creator, controller, enjoyer, then only you can be Shanti Mrichati. Without that, you'll not be Shanti. You'll be agitated, you'll be disturbed, because you're depending on material knowledge to get you across the time factor. Material knowledge can't do that because it's within the time factor. It works within time. It operates within time. It creates, destroys, maintains within time. So how can that level of knowledge help you transcend? We have to therefore understand and focus on that we are, as a conditioned soul, we are illusioned. And that's very important as a meditation. As much as we meditate on Krishna and Krishna's pastimes and Krishna's leelas, we also need to be aware of the illusion that is upon us. This is very, very important. When in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, when Vyasadeva had his meditation after he was bewildered, then Narada Muni came and spoke to him and said, Vyas, what happened to you? Dvaipana Vyas, what happened to you? Why are you not satisfied? You've written all the scripture, you've written everything about the Vedas. Why are you not happy? Because you have not explained about Krishna. You have not explained about Krishna. So taking that as inspiration, creative impetus, Vyasadeva took that and meditated. Dhyanam, Dhyanam, he's used it as meditation. And by that meditation, he saw Krishna and he saw Maya just behind Krishna, or he saw illusion just behind Krishna. So he saw both. So don't think as devotees that when we meditate, it will be all transcendental and Goloka. For where we are as sadhana bhaktas, we must also be aware of Maya. Because if we're not aware of what she can do and how she can distract us, we're not going to be ready or equipped to transcend this dimension of reality, to the spiritual dimension of reality. So both are needed. Prabhupada describes very beautifully. Please listen to this statement by Prabhupada. He says here, truth means to see matter without illusion. Wow. When I read this, it just blew my mind. That truth means to see matter without the illusionary effect on it. That means with transcendental eyes or with wisdom. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakasito. If we're looking at matter, we're only seeing body. We're only seeing matter as Prakriti. But truth means to see matter with the illusion taken out. Then only you can connect it to Krishna. And the first level is to understand Krishna's energies. If we're not connecting to Krishna's energies and understanding how it all fits in, there's no way we can understand the source of the energies, the energetic. Is not possible. If you don't study the energies as well with the energetic, na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satam, ubayorapi drishtanto astvanayas tattvadarshi. That one who is tattvadarshi, one who is a seer of the truth, he studies both spirit and matter. And he's able to discern what is spirit and what is matter. How is he able to do it? With knowledge. Okay, somebody else has joined. Welcome to you, but your mic is on. Please be aware of that. Thank you. So when we understanding reactions that we're getting, we have to see it in perspective. It's very important. Prabhupada makes another stunning statement. He says that Krishna conscious devotees are independently thoughtful. We are independently thoughtful. Doesn't mean we are independent, but we think higher. Like I said, the evolution of the human being is an evolution of consciousness. That the consciousness is evolving higher and higher and higher, from karma to gyan to astanga to bhakti. It's the consciousness that's evolving. All other species on this planet, the bodies only evolve. Human beings, the consciousness evolves. So that you have a higher level of consciousness is something that's a great gift, because now you can use the power of that processor, that CPU of the human brain to try to connect and make sense of life. So Prabhupada was on a morning walk once. It was a city block. He was in a morning walk near the Empire State Building. And one of the devotees asked Srila Prabhupada, they said, Prabhupada, does a pure devotee know everything? And Prabhupada is walking and he says, yes. And they said, really? Does a pure devotee know everything? He says, yes. And then the devotee then asked Prabhupada a very interesting question. And he said, Prabhupada, can you say how many windows are there in the Empire State Building? Do you know? Can you say how many windows are there in the Empire State Building? So Prabhupada walked, he stopped, he put his cane down firmly on the ground. He looked into this devotee's eyes and he says, how many droplets of water in a mirage? How many droplets of water is there in a mirage? Can anybody give an answer to that? How many do you think? The understanding is that There is no droplets of water because it's a mirage. It's illusionary. How can there be water there? It's an illusion. And it was such a profound thought. What a profound statement by Prabhupada, that if you're looking at the Empire State Building and trying to understand that a pure devotee can know everything, then Prabhupada remarked, he said, a pure devotee may not know everything, but he understands everything. He understands everything. What is the difference between knowing and understanding? Knowing is information. Understanding is an experience. It's wisdom. It comes from life. Or if you're spiritually connected, Hridde Prakasito. Divya Gyan Hridde Prakasito. It comes from the heart. It's revealed from the heart. So it was a very, very profound explanation. So as we're trying to make sense of reactions that are coming to us, difficult circumstances that are coming to us, why life is doing this to us, all these profound existential questions of life. So Prabhupada gives a beautiful definition of the word faith. He says, faith means to trust in something sublime. So right now, if you only trust in your mind, is it sublime? It's not sublime, because the mind is an artifact of material consciousness. The mind is bhumi apanalavayu kamano buddhi revacha ahamkar iti manye binnam prakriti ashrita. It's the separated energy of the Lord. Earth, water, fire, air, ether is the gross energy. Mind, intelligence, false ego, subtle energy. So it's still material. So if you're just going to depend on that to work out life, remember you're going to get a material result, because the mind is matter, intelligence is matter, false ego is matter. How can you get a transcendental experience from all these material things? Therefore, Divya Gyan Hridde Prakashito. Transcendental knowledge is revealed from the heart. Remember that intuitive knowledge that I told you about, that mothers depend on for their children. So one step deeper than that is using that to connect to the Supreme Consciousness, Krishna. Param Satyam Dhimahi. So when one is conscious of matter together with the Lord, then he does not reject anything. And we are very quick to reject something uncomfortable. That means we are attached to comfort. We even take this understanding into spirituality, that if some fasting needs to be done, or some vrat needs to be done, or something is happening to us, then why is it happening to me? I've done good, I've not done bad. I've tried to do charity. I've tried to help people in my capacity. Why is bad coming my way? Why? Because we have the notion that now that I'm spiritual, no bad should come to me. We forget that we are conditioned, and conditioned means there's certain things that are upon us that's creating our conditionings. And what is that? It's our good activity and our bad activity. That is coming from lifetimes and lifetimes. Dhritarashtra is a famous example of this, that it took him 50 lifetimes to gain the punya, the piety, to have 100 sons so that they can fight on the battle of Kurukshetra. So we don't know from how many past lifetimes what karma is coming forward. It's like a siphon. You know, I'm remembering there in Durban, that Hewlett's, as you come, I forget the area there, but that Hewlett's refinery is the sugar refinery. And you see these huge silos. So when they drop sugar from the top, by the time it comes to the bottom, who knows how long it will take. But it's guaranteed that if you drop the sugar from the top, it's going to come out at the bottom. So this is the understanding of reaction, that I don't know what reaction is coming when, but as a devotee of Krishna, I don't reject anything. Because rejecting means I've understood the ontology of what this is. I've completely understood the nature of the existence of what this is that's coming to me. And that's pride. If I can say I totally understand what this is, then there's no room for any more improvement. Therefore, I'm taking the decision to reject. So you see how subtle it is? Anything that one, therefore, it tends into Mayavad philosophy. That one who will rejects anything means he's claiming to understand the ontological nature of this thing. And that's a dangerous position to be. But a devotee, he does not reject whatever comes his way. Tatenu kampam shushumikshamanu bhunjane batma kritam vipakam ritvagvapubi ritadam namaste jivasya mukti pada sadayapa. That Lord Brahma prays in the 10th canto, 14th chapter, that whatever these circumstances that are coming my way, the pain, the suffering that I'm going through, give me the strength to go through it, Krishna. Otherwise, what will help me at the time of death? Bhagavad Gita is addressing this one point on a material, physical level, how to deal with death. One whole chapter is dedicated to this. The 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is dedicated to this point about death. So how to deal with this? Because Arjuna understands he just lost his son. He's trying to deal with all the emotions of this. He's lost his father. His mother is a single mother, a single lady with 5 children. And look at their lives. So he's trying to understand life. Mahabharata is nothing but trying to make sense of life from a devotional spiritual platform. What is the difference between ritual and spiritual? Ritual means activity. Spiritual means consciousness. Ritual means activity. Spiritual means consciousness in which you do the activity. There's no difference. The pujari who's cooking the Raj Bhog in the temple and the chef who's cooking in a restaurant, both are doing the same thing. But the person who is cooking in the kitchen is a pujari. We must remember, when we enter the deity room, anything connected to the deity is a pujari. So the person who's cooking for the deities is a pujari who is a cook. There is a pujari who does arti. There is a pujari who does the cleaning. These are all pujaris. So when one's consciousness is connected, what is the difference with the cook in the restaurant and the cook in the temple? It's consciousness. His consciousness is that I'm cooking for Krishna. His consciousness is that I'm doing it for Krishna. So in trying to make sense of reaction, we got to see it from the perspective of spirituality, not of karma, of action. And this was very profound to me in my stay in Vrindavan. I managed to see, and actually in my life, I managed to see 3 times when death came in my midst, not to me, but people that I knew. And I took lessons from it. The first time I was on my way to see my Guru Maharaj in Govardhan, and I was going with the auto rickshaw. And you know, Indian tuk-tuk, right? It only has capacity for 10, but 30 is there. Everywhere from the inside to the back, right to the roof, pack it, full. There's still place, don't worry, we can still add more. Spiritual auto rickshaw, you know. So I was standing on the back bumper and holding the rail, and there was 4 of us on that back bumper. So already that's and we were going. And as we reached Chhattisgarh, and then we were going about 2 kilometers into Govardhan, then on the left side, there were people that were grouped around, and immediately they flagged down the auto rickshaw. So we stopped, and then I saw that somebody had just passed. It was a Brajbasi, a devotee, somebody who was born in the Dham, in Vrindavan Dham. And I observed how the family people related. It was not dramatic or anything like that. It was very sober and solemn. And I asked one of the people there, how come they're not like, you know, so emotional about it? And they said, because they know Radharani has taken this person. They know this person has gone. Tatkatvam nanivartante tat dhamam paramam mama Once you go there, you don't come back here. So they know that soul is gone. So at that moment, I prayed right there and I offered my pranams that please, the soul that has left in front of me like this, please bless that, you know, we can one day also achieve your destination. So that was the first time. The second time we were in Jagannath Puri. I'm sure many devotees have been to Puri, Jagannath Puri. So one of the famous places where South African devotees go and stay is the Billa guest house. Billa. So we went in and checked in. I was with my family at that time, and we checked in, and the manager there, Mr. Singh, he received us so nice and warm, very wonderful person from Puri. And we went into our rooms, but as we came back down to go for prasadam, we saw that there's a mattress and somebody was lying on the mattress and there was a sheet over. So within a few moments, Mr. Singh was gone. Within a few moments, I just spoke to him, totally healthy, normal person. Within a few moments, in Shastra, this is called Brahma Liti, that it's written Brahman Liti. It's written when, how long you will last, how long you'll be embodied in this human form, how many breaths you will take, and when is the time. That's also given at your birth. And really astute astrologers can even calculate that. So within a moment, he was a healthy man. We just went to our rooms and came back down and he was disembodied. So that, the first one was a moment of prayer and blessing. The second one was a moment of, because as we got past the body and we found out that it was him, the family was reading Jagannath Astikam. They were reading the prayers of Jagannath. And a similar thing, they understood it was like an intuitive level of rationale, an intuitive level of knowing that the loved one is gone to another destination. So the separateness is only from the body. The loved one is not separate from the person. Is only separate from his body, but he's still there in the spiritual world. Therefore, it helps to deal with the emotional trauma of death. And then 2 years ago was one of the most profound moments when, I'm sure all of you know of Gopal Prabhu from the, I think it's a Red Cliff Namahata, wonderful devotee. So he came on one of our tours and he was sick. His family was with him. His daughter Indroleka Mataji and Mataji was with him. But he wanted to come. He wanted to come. And even when he jumped on the plane, he had an attack there, and they were, you know, hesitant to let him fly. But somehow, by the mercy of Krishna, he flew, and he came, landed in Bombay. He was not well. Even Puran Prabhu was helping him. But he still continued. And then we took the flight to Jagannath Puri. And he came to Puri. And I asked him, Prabhu, you sure you want to come for the darshan? It's going to be hectic in the temple. No, I want to go. Jagannath brought me so far. He'll take care. And when they got there, as we took a bend, they got Puran Prabhu and Gopal Prabhu took the next turn, and they got lost from our group. And we went, we had no choice but to go in. We took darshan, came back out. And as we were coming out, those devotees who came on the tour with us 2 years ago, the pujari that took us in the Jagannath temple said something very profound. He told us, he says, don't come back here. And I said, what is he saying? He says, don't come back to Puri, because what you've achieved right now by your darshan, no need to come back here. It's already sealed that when you pass from this body, Jagannath will take care. No need to come back here. Clearly, he said that to us. And Prabhu went on his own with Puran Prabhu for darshan, and then he came back out, and then we met that evening, and we were so happy that they went for darshan. Then that night, we took the train from Puri to Kolkata. And in the morning we reached, although it was an air-conditioned train, but for somebody whose health is not good, he still managed all of that. And then from there, we took the bus, we arranged the bus, and we went to Prabhupada's birthplace. You would have seen recently that now it's under ISKCON care. And it's such an amazing, they've really created a wonderful area. They've removed all the tin shacks and things and made a wonderful, well-deserving inauguration of Prabhupada's birthplace. So we took him there. He had Jagannath's darshan in Puri. He had Prabhupada's darshan at the birthplace. Then we took him to Ulta Junction, where Prabhupada met Bhakti Siddhanta for the first time. He had darshan there. Then we took him to Kolkata Temple, where the first deities in India of ISKCON was established, Radha Govinda Ji. He took darshan there. And then on the way, coming to Mayapur, by the time we got to Mayapur, it was evening. We got to Mayapur. He was sick in the bus, but we got to Mayapur. He got to his room. He took bath. He came out and he was gone. And it was just like that it happened. So I'm telling you the story. There's so much more details than that as well. By the time I got to see him, he was already gone to the hospital, Bhaktivedanta Hospital up the road. So I went to the hospital and I was with the family, and the doctor looked at him and he said, we can't do anything more. And then I felt his pulse and his body was cold. And then from there, we took him back to Calcutta, to the hospital, so that they can certify and give a certificate and, make sure. And then when you phone the taxis, they want to come because you're giving them business to Calcutta. But when they find out that somebody has passed away and you want to bring that person into their vehicle, it became a whole nother story. So this is again material consciousness, seeing that, So the point being, the lesson I learned from Gopal Prabhu, and it was a profound one, that although he was born in South Africa, although he did menial service, Tucha Seva, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's called Tucha Seva. It's menial service. He arranged so many festivals and everything. Born in South Africa, but see where his destiny brought him to leave his body. So it's hope that when we're serving Krishna, when we're serving with the heart, Seva must be from the heart. Otherwise, if Seva is not from the heart, it's Karma Yoga. Bhakti means an affair of the heart. If Seva is not done with the consciousness of devotion, then it's Karma Yoga. So we're getting karmic reaction. Although the Seva is pure, but the consciousness is not. So therefore, it behooves us to focus on the evolution of our consciousness devotionally. So when I was just doing a quick Google before I logged on, and one of the things that traumatize us so much through the day is our thoughts. So on Google stats, it says that we have 6,200 thoughts a day. And we can be rest assured at least 6,000 of that we had yesterday as well. The same thoughts, 6,000 of those, at least 6,000 of those same thoughts happened yesterday and the day before and the week before and the month before. So we keep on traumatizing the mind with the same kind of thoughts. Why? Because we're trying to find a solution. We're trying to find a material solution to these thoughts. One of the things that Prabhupada teaches is that when you're consciously focusing on Krishna, the energy that is coming from there has to be consciously received as well. If you're not conscious of it, you will receive, but you won't receive where you are aware of what you receive, if that makes sense. You are receiving, but are you receiving what you are aware of? No, but you are receiving. So where is the proof that we are receiving? The proof that we are receiving is twofold. Number one, we are able to maintain the 4 regulative principles every day. So where is the impetus to do that? Everything around us in Kali Yuga is pulling us away. And these 4 principles are principles of Kali Yuga. But when we are able to connect with Krishna, every day we're able to go through these without being disturbed by intoxication, meat eating, gambling, and illicit sex. So this is very profound. The strength to do that, where is it coming from? It's coming from our practice. Don't take it lightly, because you know for a fact that in order to be immune, not just to the pandemic, but to be spiritually immune, how much of spiritual energy that would take. Secondly, every day we're doing the japa. Every day we chant our 16 rounds. So the fact that we're doing that every day builds determination. We may not be chanting with Sudanam, pure name, relishing, but we are building something. What is that? Determination. Drita vrata, namasham chastamam bhaktya, nitya yukta upasate. That devotees do their bhajan with drita vrata. Satatam kirtayanto mam, yetan tascha drita vrata, with determination. So the fact that we can do the chanting every day, even no matter what comes our way, that builds determination, and that is not a material thing. So just these two examples to give us an idea what happens when Krishna comes into our lives. Krishna completely metamorphosizes. Everything changes. Metamorphosis means everything changes. But where does it start? It starts from inside first. Nobody's going to see anything outside. What are you going to see outside? Some orange clothes, tilak mark. It's not much different from other human beings. But the real metamorphosis of devotion is starting from inside. So when one is conscious of Krishna's presence, when one is conscious that Krishna is there to protect, to care for, to love, to share with you, then you're aware of Krishna's mercy in your life. One of the easy ways to do that, when we have a difficulty, we always focus on the difficulty so strongly that it traumatizes us to the degree that we can't function normally in the everyday cycle of life. So one may say, but why does Krishna do this? Why did he take away my loved one? Why did he give me this reaction? Why did he take away somebody that's so dear to me? Why did he abandon me like this? Please remember that before Krishna takes away anything, he first gave it to you. He first gave it to you. If he didn't give it to you, then what did you lose? So to lose something means it was first given. And if it was first given, did you understand the duality and the nature of life? Did you understand how life works in duality? That together with the good, the bad also comes. And together with the bad, there's also some good there. This is the teaching of wisdom. You can't get this from Google. This you can only get by wisdom of a guru who's following this. This is Srila Prabhupada. That's why as much as the guru's teachings are strong and it's tough and it's difficult to imbibe, is given many instructions to you personally and also generally. But the most difficult thing, the most powerful thing that is given you is the prayer that I recited first. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. That he gives you the understanding to remove your illusion. We are praying that Krishna removes our illusion. No, Krishna will give you the understanding by which you can remove your illusion. If you don't do it yourself, then it's not love. If Krishna forces it, it's not love, it's not bhakti. So the guru is empowered Om Agyana Timirandasya, to remove ignorance. That's what the word sadhu means. Sadhu means to cut the illusion. See the world for what it is, not bigger than what it is. If you see the greatness, see the world for what it is, you're able to cope with it. If you see it for greater than it is, it becomes traumatic. But if you see it for what it is, using the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, then whatever reactions are coming to you is understandable. That Krishna, you gave so much of good, now I'm going through a bad cycle. I'm going through a difficult cycle, but it is a cycle. It's within time. It has a beginning point and it has an end point. It may take 1 week, it may take 1 year, it may take 7 years, but it's a cycle and it will end. So just as much as we are having bad or difficulties to deal with as a reaction, we're also getting good reaction. And sometimes some devotees say, well, why so many bad things happen to devotees? You know, I try to remind devotees sometimes. I say, you know, if devotees' life was so bad, just go and see the Hare Krishna car park. Just check what cars are parked there. Mercedes Benz and BMWs and the latest cars, and in the corner one Toyota also. Lexus. So look at the cars in the Hare Krishna car park and see what cars are there. So Krishna is benedicted, and certain times he also takes away. So when he's giving, it's very nice, but it must also be understanding when he's taking away. Otherwise, what will prepare us for our own death? Nothing material can prepare you for death, because death is beyond the time factor. Everything you know is within the time factor. Your mind, intelligence, false ego is material. It's within time. But transcendental knowledge is out of time. It's beyond time. Therefore, death is a mystery to the materialist. But to the spiritualist, to the devotee, it's not a mystery. Prabhupada says a very nice thing. He says, only a devotee can smile at death. Only a devotee can smile at the time of death. And this is the power. Why? Because he has realization. Raja Vidya Rajagoyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Vargamam Dharmam Susukam Kartam Avyayam. That Arjun, this process is Raja Vidya. It's a king of knowledge. It's nothing material about Bhagavad Gita. Raja Vidya, Raja Guyam. It's a secretive knowledge. Not everybody knows about it. And what is it? Pavitram Idam Uttamam. It's the purest knowledge. Why is it pure? Because it's not contaminated by anything material. Everything, every other form of knowledge is contaminated by matter. This is transcendental knowledge. And Pavitram Idam Uttamam, and it's the topmost knowledge to know how to conduct your life and how to conduct your life at the time of death to transcend this world. And what else about it? Pratyaksha Vargamam Dharmam. It gives direct perception of the self through realization, not through senses, through realization, wisdom. If you're going to understand life, you need wisdom. And if you're going to understand what's coming to you, you need transcendental wisdom. Just the experiences of life is good, but you need the knowledge of Gita. That is why it's spoken on a battlefield. What can be more traumatic than life on a battlefield? What situation in life can be more emphatic than a king speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, speaking to Sukadev Goswami about what should I do at the time of death? What is the goal of life? Shreya, what is the thing that I should do? So Gita is addressing the process of life culminating in death and beyond, and Bhagavatam is taking it from death to the transcendental realm. So both of these are jewels of wisdom for anybody who wants to understand why my life is so. Why are these things in my life? And how can I transcend them? How can I move beyond them? So this is a very thoughtful aspect of the human nature, and use that. Jignasu Shreya Uttama. Ask the highest kind of questions about life, because no other questions have value. Any other questions in matter and material things have its value for that moment of time. And once there's a new information that comes through, then that's obsolete. Transcendental knowledge is never obsolete. 5,000 years humanity has kept Krishna's word sacred. Surely it has value. If people can keep this information for 5,000 years, do you know of any other information that is kept for 5,000 years in literacy form? This is Krishna's words directly, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So if you want to learn, if you want to understand what is my life supposed to be, why these things, Keami, Keno More, Japa Tapa Troy. Shubha Sanatan Goswami asked Lord Chaitanya, Keami, who am I? Keno More, Keno, why? Why are these things happening to me? Why is there birth, disease, old age, and death? That, Prabhupada says, is the real problems of life. And one who is in knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge means to understand what is matter, what is spirit, and who is the controller of both. Right now, we only know what is matter. We don't know what is spirit. That's why we're studying Bhagavad Gita, to teach us what is spirit. Unless we can synergize the both, create harmony within matter and spirit, how do you live peacefully in this world? If you only have matter and experience of matter, you have no experience of spirit or spiritual energy, then how do you say you complete? You know the Chinese emblem, the yin yang? Both must be there. Both. Gita says the same thing. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satam. Both must be there. And only when you mastered both can you say you are tattvadarshi, not even bhakta. You understand the nature of both. So where we are in life as devotees of Krishna, we have the understanding to make sense of life. Many people don't, and they die that way. They leave this world without understanding anything about who they are, without understanding anything of who they really are, not the body identity, but the soul identity. So Gita is giving us this information. If we can spend a little time trying to hear this knowledge, it will have such a profound effect on our life and our understanding of life. And whatever reaction is then coming our way will be an understanding, will be an incident of understanding rather than an incident of reacting. So I'd stop there. There's so much more we can speak. How are we doing for time there, Paramatma Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, we are at 5 o'clock here, 5:05.
Okay.
We're just over an hour now.
Okay, so let me stop there because I don't want to overload with information. And let's maybe take a few questions if there is. Is there any questions?
Yes, Prabhu, we have a question from Dr. Usha Rupnarayan. Dr. Usha Rupnarayan, we welcome her. She's also a former parliamentarian.
Right.
If you can, I don't know if she can please unmute herself and ask her question.
Okay.
Haribol, His Grace, Haribol Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I must thank you immensely for this profound presentation. And I think you helped me a lot because, you know, we are so quick to go to Google and we forget about transcendental knowledge. And you answered many questions because, you know, our province a few weeks ago, or mainly in July, we went through so much of emotional trauma through violence and looting. And also with the COVID, it's impacted so negatively on our mind. And His Grace, if you can just, I know, you know, we are human beings. If you can just give us, you know, something just to detach from these negative thoughts, you know, these thoughts that cause almost post-traumatic stress on us. And as much as you've enlightened us, and we are truly, truly blessed by your presentation. But just some positivity, you know, for us here in South Africa, in Durban especially, I will really welcome that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Doctor, for that profound question. Thank you also for your appreciation. With your permission, I'd like to correct something, that we're not human beings. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. That is the correct foundation on which to start life. if we start life as spiritual beings, having a human experience, then we are opening our understanding for the emotional and the physical aspects of life. And I'd really like to appreciate your comments on those difficult times that people have been through. It's not within our control when a pandemic strikes. It's not within our control. We've even had a more elaborate civil upheaval there in Durban, and that's also not within your control. Now, the trauma is coming about because we want to resolve this emotionally. You want to resolve something that you haven't created, but has come upon you. So one of the emotional triggers that to deal with this, firstly, acknowledge Ishvara Parama Krishna. Krishna, God is the supreme controller. And we may not understand how he's controlling using the time factor. Like Prabhupada said, when you look at the Empire State Building, you are seeing the windows. Prabhupada is saying, are you aware how many droplets of water is there in a mirage? So the first level of peace, Shantim Mrichati, Krishna says, first understand that there is a God. And if we, as devotees of God, don't acknowledge that, then it creates chaos, not only internally, but externally, because we are beings of, we are sentient. So we want to make sense of what is happening around us, but it doesn't make sense just from the sensory level of perception. So we have to go deeper. Can we understand it through wisdom and knowledge? Yes. Human beings have created a lot of wisdom for humanity. Wonderful. But is it explaining this point? No, it's simply saying that you should be patient, you should be tolerant, try to work with what's coming towards you. It's not giving you an alternative that is anti-material. All the solutions you are reasoning and trying to work with are all material reasonings. None of that is coming from the spiritual platform. Therefore, it behooves us to take shelter of a transcendental state of wisdom like Bhagavad Gita, which is then giving us a global perspective from the soul level, from the spiritual level. So you can understand that we are in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, we're trying to deal. We are in Kali Yuga. Okay, somebody's mic is on. Thank you. So we're in Kali Yuga, and Kali Yuga means quarrel. Manda sumanda matayo, manda bharga upadritaha. That people in Kali Yuga, they're misfortunate, they're quarrelsome, they are always lamenting. These are qualities that are given in Kali Yuga. So if people have this nature and they're born in other yugas, they can't express this because other yugas don't facilitate this mood. Therefore, Krishna says, okay, you want this mood to be controller. You want to control masses of people. You want to feel like God, where you can create an uprising and destroy innocent people's lives. All this is super connected. And therefore, when it manifests to our perspective, because we are part of it, then we feel, why is it happening to me? But the bigger picture is that it's not just a global, but a cosmic, spiritually cosmic phenomena. That's the mood of Kali Yuga. It's not only the pandemic and this uprising. Look at the whole world is not finding peace. The whole world is searching for some kind of peace, but they're searching for it with a material motivation. And as soon as we realize, let me connect to me, within this body is the soul. What is the experience of the soul? Can we describe? What does it mean to be as a soul? Because the soul is not separate in relation to the supreme soul. We never have any experience of that unless there is trauma. Forgive me. Unless there is severe trauma in our lives, by human nature, we never then take shelter of a higher level of solitude, of shelter. That is our level of commitment to God and to prayer. So he's saying, if that's the only way you're going to relate to me, then I'll have to give you events that will finally bring you to your senses. Euphemistic you, yeah, plural. So your question is very profound, and there's nothing I can say that can change the pandemic or that can change the pain that people have gone through it. So use that for wisdom. Use that to understand that this is the nature of if you read Bhagavad Gita deeply, you'll see Krishna as one, Dukalayam Mashashpatam. Then you'll know that this is a place of suffering also, as much as it has a joyful side. And we're happy when God gives those things. But when he gives the difficulties to deal with difficulties of life, then we're not so sure if he's there. We doubt him. Sometimes we chop and change him. I'll choose another God if you don't give me. So this is human conditioning. So if we're trying to understand pain, and this is not to minimize anybody's pain, but pain will never go away from the material platform. Today it's this pain, it's pandemic. Today it's the pain of civil uprising. What will it be tomorrow? So the sadhu comes into your life and says how to stop pain. Don't stop the symptoms of pain. Stop pain in itself. How to do that? And nobody likes to think at that level, because then it requires spiritual commitment. But that is the true wisdom. That is true knowledge. Anything else is a symptom of material conditioning. So as profound as your question is, doctor, there is no simple answer for healing except to take shelter of God. Have you realized, I'm sure you have, how many people have started to look for answers about God in this pandemic time? There's so many people that have gone very serious into spiritual thought, into spiritual practice. So in that sense, was the pandemic so bad? It definitely created loss of loved ones. But that, if you studied Gita, is an inevitable part of life. Prabhupada said death rate is same everywhere, 100%. So if we are caught up with the symptoms of life and pain, we're not addressing the real problem of life. Life has a problem. What is it? Birth, disease, old age, and death. Try to resolve these, and then you'll really be achieving something substantial. If you try to resolve the symptoms, it's materials, it's symptomatic of material life. Nothing can be resolved there. Ram had come. One yuga, Ram Raj ho gaya, finished. Krishna had come. Kurukshetra battle, re-established yada yada hi dharmasya. Re-established dharma. Now in Kali Yuga, where's the dharma? So if God is coming and even he can't maintain dharma for an extended period of time, can you understand the level of our conditioning? So this is my point. Unless you meet a sadhu who can tell you, this is the reality, dear child, dear devotee of God, this is the true reality. This is the way you should understand life. Unless somebody shakes that illusion, every other aspect of life will be a symptom of pain. Every other aspect of life will be a symptom of material conditioning. Will not solve anything that way. But if we take the knowledge and wisdom of Gita, we don't try to solve anything. We resolve by transcending to the spiritual platform, by connecting inward to the level of the soul. And that platform can create stability. That platform influences the mind and understanding and intelligence. That platform gives courage. that platform gives stability because it's non-material. Every other platform you're dependent on is material. So I hope, that was really a profound point and question. And I truly feel your pain and trauma in trying to find emotional stability. But my point again, today it's the pandemic. What will you do tomorrow for emotional stability if it's something else? So therefore, I'm sharing with you in a very humble way, please connect to your spiritual nature, because then you have wisdom, then you have true knowledge. You don't just have information, you have true knowledge on where am I, who am I, and how and where am I going to? What is the purpose of all of this? How do I make sense of it? And how do I be peaceful? How do I find peace? So thank you, Doctor. Thank you for that wonderful question. Is there?
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna, Prabhu, we have a question from Mrs. Himani Raghav. If you can please
Okay.
unmute.
Sure.
Unmute yourself. Yes, thank you so much. You can ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Rathim Dasji.
Hare Krishna, Himani.
Thank you for giving this immensely deep knowledge of about the Mahabharata, especially the Gita sloka. And my question is, whenever we say that we should devote ourselves to Krishna, like with consciousness, right? So I wanted to know that what is the feeling that when we are devoting, we are in the position of consciousness. We feel what is the state on that moment of ours that yes, we are in conscious manner, yeah, or we can say that we are in conscious state.
Okay, I didn't. Prabhu, can you please clarify the question, because the line was not clear.
Oh, Prabhu, the Mataji asked, when we say we should devote ourselves to Krishna with consciousness, then how would we know that we are in the condition of consciousness of Krishna?
How will you know when you understand that you're Krishna conscious?
Yes, when we say we should devote ourselves to Krishna with consciousness,
yes,
then how would we know that we are in the condition of Krishna consciousness with feelings she was talking about?
Yes. So firstly, there's symptoms when one is a devotee. When one is a devotee, there are symptoms that one experiences. Firstly, the person is peaceful. Why? Because he knows, he's understood the nature of this world, that it's dualistic, that it has the good side and the bad side. And Buddhists are very good at this, understanding the dual nature of the world. But where they kind of lack in their philosophy is that they don't give there's not a clear understanding on who is God and what is God. But their understanding of duality is very profound. So we can learn from anywhere. So the first thing is to see that your material understanding of the world is clear, so that it doesn't disturb you. That's a clear sign that you are not being disturbed by the material energy. You are seeing it for what it is, not for more than what it is. When you see it for more than what it is, the mind puts a spin on it, and it makes a mountain out of a molehill, and you got to deal with that mountain. We said thoughts, 6,200 thoughts a day. 6,000 of that came yesterday as well. So what are we doing to ourselves with an uncontrolled mind? Krishna, therefore, he tells in the 6th chapter, control your mind, Arjuna. Firstly, this mind, chanchala hi manasa Krishna pramate valabatidam ham nigraham manya vayu eva chaduskaram. That Arjun, your mind is pramada. It's mad, not ordinary mad. Pramada, completely crazy. Pramada, balavat, it's very strong, and dritam, it's determined. So if you're dealing with something like that, how can you live, be normal? How can you not be traumatized? So you have to give the mind a place of shelter. That's why Krishna is saying, Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhya jimam namaskaro mam evasyasi satyam te pratijana priyosime. So he's saying, Man mana, first think of me, Arjun. These are the symptoms. Firstly, you'll start actively developing a practice where you're thinking of Krishna. Man mana, bhava mad bhakto, become my devotee. Understand, if once you understand I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then become my devotee. Mad bhakto. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Mad yaji mam namaskaro. You worship me and offer namaskar to me. So these are the 4 things you can do. Man mana, think of Krishna, become a devotee of Krishna, offer puja, offerings to Krishna, yaj nam namaskaro, and offer obeisance to Krishna. If you do those 4 things, your life will change just like that. But Buddha bhava samanvitaha, yome bhaktyo prayojati. Krishna will even take fruit, flower, leaf, or water. He'll take a leaf from your hand. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktyo prayojati. Tataham bhakti uparitam asnami prayata atmanaha. So he's saying, I'll even take fruit, flower, leaf, or water if yome bhaktyo prayojati, if you offer it with love. So start by offering these things with love, remembering Krishna, man mana, become a devotee of God, Krishna, offer worship to Krishna, and mam namaskaro, offer obeisances to Krishna. These 4 things in itself will start to create the feelings. And once the feelings come, then you'll be able to do offerings and everything with devotion. So start with that. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse number 32. Okay? Prabhu, any more questions?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu, I've got a question.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there any more questions from anybody? Okay, Prabhu,
Okay.
I've just got a quick question.
Okay.
Can you hear? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to know, how did you come into Krishna consciousness? And also, what is your daily or weekly program? What do you do to keep yourself in this spirit of Krishna consciousness? What motivates you? What encourages you? What's keeping you going for so many years?
Very good question.
Yeah.
So, I've always been interested in science and spirituality. So in my university days, I joined through the college. I think you remember, you were there at that time at Westville, and we connected at that time. Yes. But it was not just the knowledge that was so profound. The way my life unfolded. I would test Krishna all the time, and he would test me all the time. This is love. If love is not tested, how do you know it's genuine? How will you know whether you can really trust God? Is it because most of religiosity today is based on what I can get from God, and if God can relieve my suffering and pain, which is it's good, but it's a starting point. It's a starting point of true love, because that kind of practice does not allow for true love. It allows for exchange, that God is the creator, he gives me what I want, and I give him worship in exchange. So it shows a level of dedication, but it does not develop true love. So what we need is true love. This is the thing that is missing in this material world. And we'll end with this beautiful story from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, of the lady who came to sell fruit in Krishna's village, the fruit seller. And Krishna came there, and he heard this lady coming there, and oh, she's selling fruit. Phal chahiye, lelo, phal chahiye. And Krishna heard, and he saw the fruits, and he smelled the fruits, but he's a child. So he doesn't know what is the value of money. but he saw that Vrindavan is a bartering community. So he went and got some grain. And by the time he got to the lady, all fell out of his hand. Now the child is there. Child wants the fruit, but the grain fell down. Now how to get? So the fruit lady, she's enchanted. Chamatkar. She's enchanted with this Rupa Madhurya, the sweetness of Krishna. You know, if there's beauty in this world, can you imagine the source of beauty? How beautiful that must be. Krishna is the source of beauty. Nava Yovanamscha. Advaitam Achutim Anadir Ananta Rupam. Adhya Purana Purusha Nava Yovanamscha. He's the oldest person, but he's the most beautiful person because he's the creator. So at this time, he is telling the lady, no, I brought it, but it fell down. And by his sweet exchange, he incited the motherly love of this lady, whereby she became, the Acharyas, Prabhupada describes in that pastime, that Krishna came empty-handed to her, but he filled her heart with fulfillment. He made her heart satisfied. He made her heart fulfilled. Nothing material can make you fulfilled. Only, even Mick Jagger says, right? Can get no satisfaction, right? Nothing material can make you fulfilled or satisfied. Only the spiritual nature can do that. Why? Because it's not temporary. It is eternal. You are connecting with a level of energy that is eternal, and it's imbued with love, eternality, and consciousness. It's not like matter. Please understand that. It's not like matter. Therefore, when you connect through that with the chanting of the holy names, the name of Krishna is non-different. We showed and we proved that scientifically also with the water experiment. If you followed our Gita classes, you would have seen the study of Dr. Emoto and how by prayer over water, the water changed and became pure and good. Human body is 80% water. Therefore, if you pray, that vibration is tuning your body. So we proved that the chanting of Krishna's name, and then they showed how the names of people like Mother Teresa and Hitler had different effects on water. So we proved through that if the chanting if ordinary people's names can affect water like that, our body is 80% water. What can the chanting of Krishna's name do? So scientifically, we proved the chanting process. Now, if we do that with love, Tesham Shatatayuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. If you do your bhajan with priti, with love, then Tadadi Buddhi Yogam Tam, then I will give you the understanding, Yena Mam Upayantite, by which you can come to me. It's not an understanding of intellection, it's an understanding from the heart. So Hemani's question follows up here as well. So I felt that when I connected in times of difficulty, great difficulty that I had, even after I became a devotee. So, but I never lost my faith. Prabhupada gave that definition today. Faith means to trust in something sublime. I knew my mind is not sublime, but Krishna is sublime. And by that sublimity of Krishna, by the sweetness of Krishna, my heart got enchanted. And slowly, by absorbing the practice that I was doing every day, you start getting a taste for more of that world and start to forget more of this material world. And that is where my life has brought me now. So I have not reached any goal or destination, but I'm still trying, still crying, still trying. But I know that what I've experienced by the practice of Krishna consciousness, nothing material can ever give me that. There's nothing material that ever comes close to that. So for those who've never tasted that yet, come to a Rathiyatra festival, come to a temple program and experience, let the soul come out. Let the soul burst out of the body and feel the spiritual world. Let it experience Visuddha Sattva, the spiritual consciousness, and you'll never go to anything material again. This is how we able to even follow as a brahmachari, follow, I joined when I was 21 years old. So I've literally practiced Krishna consciousness right through my life. I'm 47 now. So I've been practicing right through, and still there's more and more flavor. Still there's more and more taste. So I'd like to share with you that please try the process by the chanting with devotees. Chant with devotees, chant amongst devotees. When you're amongst devotees, you become more conscious of everything. I described that definition. Ritual means activity. Spiritual means conscious activity. So the more we do things consciously, the more we'll experience God. And once you taste that dimension of reality, nothing in the material world can ever come close to that. Therefore, there are disciples of Prabhupada born in white bodies, European bodies, joined when they were teenagers, 18, 20, 21 years old. And up to now, their grandmothers, 70, 80 years, they're practicing bhakti for 50 years, right here in Mayapur. We have Pankaj Jangri and Janani Vas Prabhus who are here. In Mayapur, in Vrindavan, we have also great devotees who are there. So how is it if this is just a phase of life where you pick up the beads and just go to the activities of the temple? How is it these people are practicing for 50 years coming from a Western lifestyle? So excuses, Prabhupada would say, excuses only sound best to the person who makes them. So please don't cheat yourself. Be honest with yourself. The fact that you came to this program today means something was transmitted to you. Take that as some message that Krishna has inspired and make your life much better than it is right now. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisance, all glory to your Prabhupada. Thank you so much, everyone. Hare Krishna. We will end now. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to offer my blessings to everyone. Once Puruviyascha, Kripa Sindhuvyeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.